And I have to say, Kurosawa, like, he has me engaged so just I am enthralled by every single thing, and it's these simple decisions that he makes, like when, you know, at a certain point when he's kind of confronting the chauffeur saying like, I don't want to, you know, spend the money to save your son, which we'll get to that switch of the detail too, but like they frame it so it's just like him in the room, nobody else. There are other people in the room, but he just frames it between them. He's on one side and he's on the other, and it just feels this kind of like, you know, philosophical battle or whatever. And just that in itself is fascinating and interesting, and it just makes you engaged. And I was really impressed that he could spend an entire hour in this one room, and just the way he angles things, the way he frames things makes me feel like it's fresh every single time. And there's this kind of, even if it's the same location, it makes me feel like there's a different one just given how he's framed the two or three characters that are interacting with each other at the given time.
Yeah, I mean, his genius control of space and geography and framing and blocking really comes to full fruition, I think, in this film in particular, because of the challenge of what he's presented himself with, which is that I'm filming what could very easily be a stage play of people arguing about a tense situation they're in, and it doesn't feel like that even for a second. And he maybe cheats maybe once or twice, where there's one moment where he goes into the driveway, which is a really important moment because he wants to see all the he wants to introduce the idea of the driver, because that's when all the businessmen are being kicked out of his home. The driver is driving them away. And you get, again, the economy of how he collects detail in the writing, and how he goes, here is those businessmen offering his secretary a director position if they can convince him to join their plot. At the same time, there's the driver taking them all away, who's loyal to Gondo. And then you get the two kids running up the driveway during that scene, which you don't even take particular notice of. It's kind of just happening in the sidelines. They're playing sort of cowboy and bandit, one firing a toy rifle into the belly of the other one, and the wife making commentary about how your son is just like you. He loves bloody sport, you know, and all this kind of stuff. And that subtle detail of her even briefly mistaking their son for the chauffeur's son, Shinchi. And the same way the kidnapper is about to. But again, this is stuff that we're not even thinking about yet. He's already layering in this subtle detail for you before the situation has even started. When the rotary phone finally rings, and it's not the kidnapper, it's because he's trying to leverage, you know, more, doing more business deals to leverage more shares that he's accumulated behind the scenes to take control of his companies, which he's done by doing very risky, you know, sort of loans essentially, and, you know, mortgaging his home and assets and all of this, and relying on sort of paying back those loans by, you know, the profits of taking over his own company and getting control. And he's doing all of this for noble reasons. I think technically it's just one of those things where the only reason he can pay this money is because of how precarious of a situation he's in. And that's the thing that realizes, oh, if I pay this ransom that he's about to be asked to pay over the phone, it's literally going to ruin his life financially and he's going to have to like completely start over again, which is part of the intensity of the dilemma he's in.
Yeah, and it does heavily imply too that even after he had this meeting, it seemed like this plan was kind of like already in place, like already in motion. So when you have that initial meeting and you get this idea that he's at the very least being forward with his partners as he's still disagreeing with them about the approach that they should take, there's like some, you know, some honesty in that and some character. And then when he's doing this, even though I do like his perspective on the shoe company more than them, of course, it does feel like he's probably been doing things like this throughout his entire career, in a way as well. And also
he's already worked up his way to being a bit of a cutthroat businessman, even if he's doing it for artistic reasons.
Right, exactly. And also the kind of the dark irony of this plan probably would have worked perfectly if it weren't for this pesky kidnapper that happens in the exact moment that he makes the $50 million loan deal. It's just like,
like literally if it had happened like 24 hours later, he's like, oh, that's probably fine.
Yeah, exactly. Because he would have owned everything in the company. But now, and then just him having the confidence of it to be like, not only is it like his share in the company or whatever, but he's putting up his house. So now he's involving not just his livelihood, but obviously his family that he's obviously directly connected to. And we've seen them, like he's supposed to be very close with his wife and his kid. and she knew nothing about this. I think she mentions that as well, that this is all coming as like a surprise. And so he's not telling anybody because he does feel like he just has this answer to things and nothing could go wrong. It's this
he feels in control. He feels the power that wealth has kind of brought him, and the whole point of this kidnapping scenario, which I guess we can get into here, is that, and we'll get into the specifics of it, but at a certain point, like he is right. It's designed to humiliate him and make him suffer and bring him down. Here's a guy who is on top of the world, quite literally. And here is someone who wants to make a point of him losing all of that. I mean, even the detective brings up that like the ask is crazy. He's like, the most we've heard of is like 2 million yen. 30 million yen is like clearly this guy fucking hates you, bro. Like,
he hates you, and he knows, like, he knows what you're capable of giving him as well, in some sense. Which means he knows you and has probably been watching you and keeping tabs.
Well, yeah, and that's when they start covering the drapes. Like, there's so many fantastic details to this of like, I love when the fact that he picks up the rotary phone and he thinks it's another businessman calling him, and it's literally someone calling him saying that they, you know, I've taken your child, you're going to pay me 30 million yen, all this kind of stuff. And I mean, we only even realize the idea of something being off when the chauffeur Aoki, played by Yutaka Sada, comes in looking for his son Shinchi briefly and can't find him. And then, you know, when he receives the call, it's about his son, and immediately him and the wife are obviously stressed. There's that great push in on the back of his head as he realizes what the